Hello and welcome to the 5th edition of the TAP Australia by Tour de France. For the first time, you'll be riding on the roads of the beautiful Kiama, the steep climbs of Shoalhaven and the rolling hills of the Southern Highlands.
I'm Matthew Keenan.
And I'm Amanda Spratt.
And she's a dual medalist at the World Championships.
Before you take the start, let's review the course together so that you can make the most of this beautiful day in the saddle.
You are now 10 kilometres into the race and you've just left the highway before Gerringong and enjoying beautiful beach views as you ride along Fern Road.
This is the only flat section of the race and the view is stunning, so make the most of it before things get serious.
It is gorgeous. Nice canopy of trees.
This is the longest ascent of the race, 11.6 kilometres with an average gradient of 4.4%.
The first part looks and feels like a European climb. There are lots of hairpins and some steep sections. Amanda, it's still early in the race, so what should the riders be looking out for?
Look, I'm excited thinking about this climb, but it is early in the race, so it's going to be really important to keep on top of your fueling and your hydration.
The second part of the climb, thankfully, isn't quite so steep, and you can now see the sunlight rays through the tree leaves.
This is a perfect section to recover from the efforts you produced in the first part of the ascent.
This is at the top of the first climb where the ride will split from the race. Those of you completing the ride will veer left and ride down to Bomaderry. The descent is long, fast and winding, so use caution and ride within your limits. 56 kilometres into the ride, you will reach a junction with the Princess Highway, and this is the only point of the ride where you could be asked to wait before crossing the road. The Princess Highway is an essential road in the region with high volumes of traffic, and police and traffic marshals will make sure this intersection is safe for everyone. From there, it will be an easy ride back to Berry via Bollalong Road and Coolangatta Road. Riders completing the race, you'll stay on the right at the top of Berry Mountain and ride towards Fitzroy Falls.
The descent from Jamberoo Mountain to Kangaroo Valley is steep, winding, and the shadows on the road don't allow for a good reading of the road surface. So be aware and mindful of the instructions given by the road marshals.
You've just reached Kangaroo Valley, and surely, Amanda, this is the perfect spot to stop for a coffee.
That's a good idea, Matt, but not on race day. You still have 2 major climbs to go, and the next one is just 5 kilometres away. So pace your ride and get ready for the next effort.
You face what will soon be the infamous Col de Fitzroy. You may know this climb as the Fitzroy Falls climb, but this is now used by a Tour de France event, so we've taken a little bit of liberty to Frenchify the name.
I think it is a great idea to call this climb a col because it really is as tough as a European climb. 6.7 kilometres and an average gradient of 8.5%. This is the first serious climb of the day and it is classified as a first category climb.
Amanda, you make it sound like a brutal climb. What's your advice on how to tackle it?
Matt, I know this climb well. I've left my sweat on these roads over the years. It's steep at the bottom, and my biggest tip for this climb, pace your effort because you're going to need that energy to get over the top part of the climb.
You now have a bit more than 60 kilometres of undulating roads to recover from your first efforts. At this stage, you've already covered 1,600 metres out of the 2,700 of elevation.
You should make the most of this section to eat and drink. Try to find a group and ride together. This is the best way to save energy and to enjoy the ride.
It's not just about eating either, Amanda. You've got to stay on top of the hydration. What's the old rule? If you're thirsty, it's too late.
Yeah, you've got to make the most of that.
Don't forget to stop at the available food and energy stations and keep an eye out for the beautiful scenery. Enjoy it.
That's a really important point, Matt. When you race as a professional, you don't really have the chance to enjoy the scenery. Don't make the same mistake as me. Soak up the atmosphere and enjoy the beautiful landscape.
At kilometre 110, you will go down Jamberoo Mountain to reach the bottom of the ultimate climb of the day. But please use caution on the descent and keep a safe distance from the rider in front of you. And don't forget, you can use the full width of the road. You're now only 10 kilometres from the finish line, but there is the mountain between you and the finish. 4.3 kilometres at an average of 8.8%.
This is a beast, Matt, especially with 127 kilometres in the legs, but the view is astonishing at the top.
Amanda, the first 400 metres of this climb averaged 16%. How do I get through it without cramping?
Matt, this is a tough climb. It's enough to make any professional shudder. My biggest tip for this is change into an easy gear before you hit the climb, and this will allow you to carry as much momentum as you can into the climb.
You conquered Saddleback Mountain and have completed all of the 2,700 metres of elevation. It's now a long 6 kilometre descent through to the finish.
The view and this long descent are the rewards of all your efforts. It's also the chance to have a drink with your friends in the village in front of the ocean.
Well, Amanda, after all that climbing, this is it. Kiama awaits.
Doesn't it look spectacular? I think I do so much travel, but every year I come back to Australia and see a view like this, and it reminds me just how beautiful our own country is. I can't wait for the final stretch back to Kiama.
Coffee away. From here, you'll once again face a winding and narrow descent, so use caution. If you're meant to produce a performance, hopefully you already achieved that on the climbs. Take the descent easy, use the whole width of the road, and be aware of the road marshals. They're there to give you safe instructions to get to the bottom of the climb in one piece.
Your family and friends will be waiting for you in the village in Kiama.
Amanda, we've made it back to beautiful Kiama. Thanks for waiting for me on those climbs.
I didn't pedal for you, Matt. You did it yourself, so well done.
So it's a no-drop ride on the day, right?
That's what you think.
That's the challenge. This is the reward. Let's go.
What I love most about cycling is to give everything out on the road and then celebrate with my friends and teammates at the finish line.
L'Etape is perfect for that. A Tour de France village will be set up right here in Coronation Park with activities and entertainment for the whole family to be able to enjoy. It's a perfect place to gather with your supporters and celebrate your wonderful achievement and doing it all together. But don't forget, pace yourself on those major climbs, and importantly, be vigilant on the descents. They are winding, narrow, and tree-leaved shadows, they can be a little tricky. Respect the event staff, the road marshal's directions. They're all here for your safety and the safety of others.
And don't forget to share your experience. Bring your friends and family to Kiama and soak up this fantastic Tour de France atmosphere.
See you on the start line.